Physically attractive but socially awkward people, what's your story? People keep thinking I'm flirting with them when I just try to be nice. I'm not sure what to do. When I talk to a guy that I don't know very well who lets me know very quickly he has a girlfriend, others drop that they're single. When I was a student, I had an administrative issue and I've been advised to survey my professors to ask their opinion on the situation. One of them was popular and very loved by students. The day I came into his office to explain my situation, after getting an appointment, he answered that it was inappropriate to come like this into his office and didn't say anything on my issue. I was very embarrassed and questioned what weird message I could convey. I was polite and calm, so I didn't understand what happened. I understand months later that I have very expressive eyes and people are affected by the looks I gave somehow or other. I'm not conscious of it, but I heard many times that my eyes talk enough despite being laconic or not chatty. Well, they don't always send the right message, apparently. I don't count anymore the occasions where a guy was flirting with me, but I didn't know. When I talked about these moments with my friends, they said to open my freaking eyes. Well, did you? Story 2. I often hear, "You're very handsome," or "X thinks you're pretty or good looking." I think they fancy you. From people I have and had absolutely no idea. If I notice someone looking at me in public, I assume I have something on my face or get paranoid. Not that they're checking me out. I can't take compliments without coming across as arrogant. I'm not being arrogant, I'm just flustered in how to respond. I don't consider myself very attractive and I can't flirt or approach someone I find attractive, but as someone else has said, sometimes people think I'm flirting when I'm just trying to make conversation. To be honest, I don't even know what flirting is at this point. Story 3. My wife. Oh man. She's a reasonably attractive woman, 40, well put together and super charming and funny. She's so awkward though. She's like a personification of that awkward penguin meme. Someone, "Good afternoon," my wife. Good, you?" Followed by a 2-second pause, then embarrassed giggling. For a woman as cute as she is, she's never been able to do a sexy thing in her life on purpose. She always stops mid-attempt and just starts giggling like she's 8 and someone said the word hot dog. We'll be out and dudes are constantly flirting with her and she's completely oblivious. We don't wear wedding rings and if I leave her alone for a minute, someone will be chatting with her and she just has no idea what's going on. She's constantly being checked out and is totally in the dark. It's literally the only way I was able to get her because she's so oblivious to how cute and charming she can be. She's just too awkward to know better. And if any of you fill her in on my scam, it's your bum. She's all yours, man. She's all yours. Story 4. Totally ugly duckling here. I was fat and didn't take care of my appearance all throughout high school. Moved out of my parents' house and lost a ton of weight and started wearing clothes that fit. Turns out I'm pretty handsome now. Problem is, I didn't learn any of the social things you're supposed to learn in high school. I can't flirt, I can't ask anyone out, and I don't know how to make a move or show interest. I've had a woman come up and start dancing on me at a show and I have no idea what to do. I literally start getting a mild anxiety attack. I feel like I'm broken as a person, but hey, at least I'm an attractive broken person, even if I'll most likely never get to sleep with anyone. Story 5. I'm an exceptionally bad conversationalist. I can't do small talk at all. It prematurely ended a lot of potential relationships for me. It's a bit of a depressing cycle. At this point, I'm very used to attracting women based on my physical appearance, and then having them ghost out after a few days or weeks because I come off as if I have no personality. No one's ever been honest enough to just outright tell me that I'm boring, and I don't know if I appreciate the politeness or resent it. In reality, I'd like to think that I'm a pretty entertaining and interesting person. I'm an extreme extrovert, and it takes me an exceptionally long time to open up to people. The only people I'm ever myself around are family that I've grown up with all my life, or a few close friends that I've known for years. For those people, I'm a cut-up, life-of-the-party type. Hopefully, witty, and easy to talk to. Everyone else, I'm the quiet guy. If they go out of their way to get to know me, I come off as distant and standoffish. For the ones that are interested enough to fight through that, they see that after a few weeks or months, I'm still pretty closed off. Most people give up after that. Relationship-wise, I feel like I have a lot to offer, but my social awkwardness constantly sabotages it. I just never know what to say. I think too hard about what I'm going to say, and all too often it results in me not saying anything. Relatable. Story 6. Pretty much what you would expect. Lots of not very good, not very long relationships. Puberty came very late for me, but with many physical gifts. My frizzy hair became shiny curls, my somewhat globular figure became a knockout bod. I was still so insecure and lonely I would jump into things too quickly or get too turned off the whole thing and spend years single when I now realize there were plenty of good guys out there had I made the effort. Most of the time, I went out with guys who came on pretty strong and showered me with affection at first. These guys coveted me when they met me, but weren't that interested in really being all that nice to me in the long run. In retrospect, I think it was like a prize to win. A manic pixie dream girl. I think when they figured out I was a real person with needs, wants, ideas, and ambitions of my own, their interest cooled. Usually these guys didn't break it off with me. Several even told me outright it was because they couldn't imagine doing better than me. Even if they weren't that into it, it just got more and more distant and difficult, and eventually had to do the dirty work myself. Interestingly, I would say my husband is in the same category as I am. Traditionally attractive, but socially awkward, though he was never an ugly duckling at all. In his case, it seems he never got the memo about being handsome and doesn't even really understand what traditionally attractive is for either intimacy. He finds me beautiful and attractive, but doesn't have a type at all. He doesn't even seem to understand that there are rules as to what people generally consider to be attractive. He goes on an individual basis. All his girlfriends, including me, basically had to make all the moves to make things happen. I even proposed to him. You proposed to him? Story 7. I would say I'm decently attractive now. However, I wasn't cute or very social in high school, very into the scene kid trend, and went to a tiny private Christian school. So I was super weird compared to everyone, so I had like 2 friends. Then dated a very controlling guy for about 5 years. So throughout most of my college life, he kept me from going out a lot and controlled who I could be friends with. Now I had like 3 friends. Once we broke up, I started being more social. I get told it was awkwardly adorable a few times, but mostly got that I have a resting witch face. I'm getting better at it, but sometimes I still do weird stuff or just get super quiet, so I just end up looking angry. Another relatable one. Story 8. I got some swarthiness and tan-inclined, age-resistant skin from my dad's side, but I got some height and wingspan from my mom's Swedish side. Very big, round, dark, childlike eyes and baby cheeks, all according to my wife, by the way. I was always quite athletically inclined. But also, from my mom's side, I got a healthy dose of autism. Not medically, just the normal Scandinavian kind. A high-strung and shy internal environment combined with a stoic outward appearance. Girl in school kept pestering me. Sarah wants you to ask her out. I would always comply because I was scared of defying these aggressive girls. I'd walk over to Sarah, want to go out? She'd say yes. I'd walk back to my seat and try my best to ignore them, certainly never intending to actually go anywhere. That happened like 3 times with the most popular and attractive girls in school, and I summarily squandered all of it. One relationship even lasted over the summer, despite essentially no contact. I guess we were still going out in August. How was I supposed to know? Sorry, Sarah, Gladys, Lisa, Zyba, and one more I forgot. I'm sure you were nice, but had trees to climb. Story 9. I was an ugly kid with no friends. Not in middle school, not for most of high school. I was just a wide-jawed, squinty-eyed, big-boned monstrosity of a child who developed mommy issues because she'd put me down in front of other people. Well, I grew into that strong jaw pretty well. Grew to be 6 foot something and broad-shouldered, and my foxy eyes turned out to be my biggest asset. I have tons of confidence these days, but since I lost a decade of developing social skills, my confidence is almost entirely based on my looks. I'll spend an hour sitting and staring into a mirror before going out some nights. I'll eat in front of a mirror. I'll smile at myself, laugh and made up jokes, just to be sure that everything checks out image-wise. I tend to be very popular nowadays and make more friends than I can keep up with, but because I spent so much of my developmental years alone and awkward, I worry that everyone can see the residue of that. I agonize over every little social interaction for 30 seconds following it. All my body language, even the way I sit, has been hastily but carefully considered. Every time I open my mouth, I feel like I'm about to dive into the deep end of a pool. I can't swim, and I'm always surprised, even when people respond positively to anything I say. I'm an engaged and thoughtful and appreciative conversationalist because I feel like I have to be just to get by. But ironically, people love that. It's not 100% paranoia either. Deep down, I really am still that awkward, lonely kid who no one wants to talk to, and that kid will show himself randomly. Like, I'll be on a date with some hot wannabe Instagram model, and the last thing she wants to talk about is 37th President of the United States, Richard M. Nixon, but we just passed Millhouse Street, and did you know Nixon's middle name was Millhouse? I wonder what he'd think about the dress you're wearing. You know, he used to wear a windbreaker and dress shoes even on the beach. I didn't know that. That's cool. Story 10. As a preteen and teen, I was not cute. I went through that awkward, chubby phase and just didn't know how to work with my curly hair and was teased a lot. No boys liked me, and PE sucked because I was their slow, chubby girl and I was in the RSP program to top it off. The RSP damaged me the most, and I still have a sort of complex about it. Then, like magic, when I turned 18, the baby fat melted off. I knew how I wanted to look, and suddenly I was considered beautiful and a stunner. I had never caught up with that, making me low-hanging desperate fruit until I managed to get married. Twice, before the age of 26. So I'm still painfully shy and see myself as mentally handicapped in some way. So I consistently choose jobs where I can sort of hide from people or require more physical work. I start a new job with a lot of customer interaction tomorrow, and I'm absolutely terrified of dealing with people because I think I seem odd. During the first marriage, I didn't work at all and hid myself away like a hermit, but he also was insecure and felt more secure if I was home. Story 11. This is a good one for me. I'm a tall, classically handsome man. Genetics win. I'm also diagnosed with a generalized anxiety disorder, and sometimes it can be hard for me to be social. Genetics fail. Anyway, I think the moral of the story here is that physically attractive people can get away with being socially awkward because people are automatically more interested in talking to someone who is attractive. Because of this, the cycle continues. I try to work on social interactions, but I've never had to focus on becoming better because I have a buffer. There are bad sides. I really focus on being nice, and people take this the wrong way. I currently have a stalker. Bummer. I've led people on romantically, especially in my youth, because I have trouble reading social cues, and my anxiety or depression sometimes makes me think that there's no way someone is actually interested in me. Definitely a blessing and a curse. The blessings are I modeled in college, so no school debt. Getting a first date is easier. For all those people who are physically attractive but don't want to be, I have some wise words for mean girls for you. You're a regulation hottie. Own it. Story 12. I always get the "why are you single" questions from people I hang out with. Truth is, while I'm very outwardly ongoing and sociable, I have terrible anxiety, and I'm basically acting my way through social engagements. This comes from years of being overly sheltered by my parents, never being let out of their sight, even through high school, and generally not being allowed to do the usual things that kids do growing up, and building those social skills. I've been told I'm attractive, but when I look in the mirror, I just see some short, awkward kid, and even with recent changes to my lifestyle and living arrangements, I still have trouble socializing on a regular basis. Story 13. Hello there. Crow mountain biker with Asperger's here. Currently studying engineering and on my way to applying to a couple of modeling agencies. In my early 20s and have never been kissed or had a girlfriend. My story: obsessively training every day instead of partying and going out is not the way to sharpen your social skills. On top of that, having Asperger's, which I didn't find out about until I was 21, didn't help much either. I don't regret it at all though. I get paid to ride bikes, and some of the best people and closest friends I have I met through cycling. Story 14. Both of my parents are narcissists. One may be full-on sociopathic. Was sick a lot as a child. Quasimodo up until junior year. Hardly ever had any friends. Got tall, got thin, got handsome. It's a miracle that I haven't snapped and become a complete monster. More or less get into short-term things anymore. Can ask me anything. It's weird to just talk about it at large because things can get comical to outright dark, depending on the situation. Story 15. My brother is 5 years older than me, and almost every day he was in high school, he would come home and tell me, "All witches are crazy, never get a girlfriend." He would seriously say this every day, and being my older and only brother, I practically took his word like scripture, and it kind of messed up how I view women. It's hard to talk to them. I kind of blame my brother. There are probably some of the things, like my not-so-good relationship with my mom. Guys talk about girls with daddy issues. Let me tell you, guys with mommy issues is a thing, too. Story 16. Not really socially awkward, but kinda aloof. Was an ugly duckling until around 12 or 13, to the point that girls used to make fun of me or call me ugly. Pretty cruel crap, too. All of a sudden, I became the hot guy. Maybe puberty, I don't know. But every girl became attracted to me. The hottest of the hot girls were all over me. This was very, very strange to me. As a matter of fact, the first girl that showed interest in me, I told her to go screw herself and get the heck away from me. I told her that because I thought she was just being cruel and messing with me. Eventually, I came into my own and started dating just super hot girls, the whole time in my head feeling like an imposter. Now, the socially awkward part. Dating these girls gave me an insight into their world, and it really turned my stomach. I saw that they were all vapid, shallow, vain, materialistic, and thought they were better than other people. They didn't have to be smart, sensitive to others' feelings, considerate, etc. They just had to look hot and expected the world to revolve around them. So from then on and now, when I see a really attractive woman, I kinda automatically don't like them. On the flip side, I know a lot of girls who are attractive and have good personality. They're all just taken. Story 17. Asperger's gets in the way, and I like spending a lot of time in my head, or reading stuff. Also some nasty issues hinder my ability to have a boyfriend, but I'm still too scared to bring them up with my therapist, so yeah. Which doesn't help at all because I'm on my way to being 25 years old, look like a 16-year-old, and I'm generally considered attractive and charming by a lot of people. But the truth is, I'm just clueless most of the time and have to pay extra attention to what's going on because of that. Even then, I'm still clueless and really bad at reading faces or paying attention to situations. To the point I may laugh if you're mad at me because I think your face looks funny. I don't do it as much as when I was a kid, though. Story 18. I'm physically attractive. I'm fit, tall, young, active, and healthy. I dress very well and make sure everything I wear fits perfectly. People often ask me if I'm a model, especially when I wear a suit. People tell me all the time I look like a Ralph Lauren model. Someone like that gets all the women, right? Nope. I'm very shy and a very boring person. My only interests are golf, and I'm not trying to pick up old or closeted gay men, especially because I'm very much straight. I go to the gym and keep to myself. If I'm not at work, I'm most likely going home to play video games because I have no one else to do activities or things with. People will talk to me and have a very blank slate, unable to hold a conversation to save my life. I have no idea how to talk to people. I'll check girls out, they'll check me out, but that's about it because if I approach them, I wouldn't be able to say more than hello. I do a lot of activities solo because I'm very spontaneous, and the few friends I do have wouldn't be able to keep up with me or would just slow me down. I haven't had a girlfriend in years because I'm very socially awkward. Going to a bar and fooling around with someone is pretty easy when you have alcohol flowing and everyone around you is in the same mood, but I want a partner, not a one-night stand who's only interested because we're both mutually intoxicated. I can honestly say that looks open doors, talking gets you through them. I can only open the doors. Then learn to talk, dude. Story 19. I was an ugly duckling with fear of strangers, adults, girls, dancing, stage, and public speaking. Girls, answering the telephone, and girls. Then puberty hit me like a nuke. Now I'm 6'2" and sound my hot. I've been conquering my fears one by one. Everyone thinks I'm some kind of daredevil and I'm just trying to obliterate my phobias. But I still have a hard time approaching girls. While I'm happy with letting girls make the first move, all my relationships so far were the girls who asked me out first, who I like because they like me and not for any significant reason. Story 20. I grew up hella sheltered. My mother was a teen mom who grew up in cruel foster homes, and she figured it would never happen to us if she never gave us freedom. So that factored into my lack of socializing or recognizing social norms sometimes. Then, I met the man who I would later marry and divorce. He was a jealous control freak, so I naively allowed him to manipulate me to isolate myself from what little friends I had and be a stay-at-home mom for what felt like an eternity. After the divorce, I'm currently 28. I can't find or keep a friend nor a boyfriend to save my life. I don't think I'm as attractive as people say I am. Self-esteem problems. But I've had so many men come up to me, ask for my number, ask me on dates, and so on. Due to my social awkwardness, shyness, and lack of spontaneity, none was fruitful, or I attract the wrong dudes. Legend says that if you hit that subscribe and like button, you'll attract the right dudes. Story 21. I got that larger, strong, guy lumberjack metrosexual look. Think Paul Bunyan with a bum knee. My story is before I found out you can dress well and bulk up, I was just a fat guy in sweatpants for the first 14 years of my life. I am now way too held back when it comes to interacting with people for the first time. I'm pretty good with Tinder because now at 22, I'm told I have dad bod, which hopefully never stops being a thing. Oh dear God, don't let that stop being a thing. It's always been a thing. Story 22. All of my friends, why are you still single? You're handsome, funny, and actually a good person. Me, are you making a pass at me? I'm either incredibly oblivious to being flirted with or really bad at flirting in public. All my best games are literally when I'm alone with someone or over the internet. It makes going to social events and getting called out for flirting with someone the ultimate death sentence because then I'm conscious of it. Story 23. When I was a kid, sports were my escape from a confusing social structure that I didn't really understand. Just hanging out with people I didn't know what to expect from people or what was expected from me, so I avoided it. However, when I was playing a sport, I knew exactly what was going on. I especially took to swimming because it was a solitary sport and I loved the water. When I was mid-race, it was like I was by myself. That of course means that I got into ridiculously good shape and trained myself to work out as a response to stress. Where some people would eat more when they got awkward, I would just go to the gym and build up a nice adrenaline rush to burn the stress away. The end result is that while I was still the same awkward and shy guy that I used to be, I was in fantastic shape. I've since slowly gotten less awkward, mostly by using physical activities of various kinds to ease myself into social situations. However, I am still pretty shy and have a tendency to still get a bit awkward in social settings. However, I'm more swole now than ever, and I'm still exercising almost every day. I feel a level of privacy and self-satisfaction during a good workout that can't be matched by anything else. Story 24. I'm not socially awkward all the time. I'm actually really good at certain social interactions. I used to be fat, had long, heavy metal hair, and dressed like crap with a crap goatee. Lost weight, started exercising, eating right, dressing nicer, cutting or styling my beard and hair. The weight loss was extremely fast, 110 pounds gone in a year. My confidence has always been good with people in general, but I was definitely not suave with women as far as romance is concerned. So here's an awkward story about being oblivious to interactions with women. I'm on a city bus near the college part of town. Gorgeous woman in a gauzy-looking summer dress gets on the bus. College-aged. I scoot over to let her sit down and she chooses to stand. Damn, sure would have liked sitting next to her. She's hot. I think to myself. The bus ride continues. I forget about her until she walks by to sit in a newly vacant seat. I'm texting my buddy now, though, so we can confirm where we'll meet up soon. Hence the bus. I glance up from my messages to realize my stop might have been passed, so I just get up here and pull the stop cord. As I'm standing there at the back, waiting to exit, I feel a warm body pressing against me from behind. I look to see that the woman has grabbed the pole right where I had, and she's standing right up against me. I look back and I apologize for bumping into her. I take a step forward, and 2 seconds later, I feel her bump me again. I apologize again and move away again. Now the bus has stopped, and I step off while holding the door handles. The woman doesn't wait for me to let go. She grabs my hand. I turn around and apologize again. Like crap, I'm so clumsy, and this hot girl thinks I'm a bumbling idiot. She falls onto me, grabs my shoulders and chest while smiling, so I catch her by the hips. I put her down a foot or so on the sidewalk so we could both walk away, which is what I did. I pulled out my phone and checked to see what street I was on. I look up at the street sign, then on my phone. I turn to check the cross street, and wham! Someone slams into me from the side where I left a woman. Oh, it's her again. She has fallen against me. Her hands are back in the same places as last time. My hands are on her hips again. She's smiling again. So I apologized again for bumping into her, turned towards the right direction, and went to go meet my buddy. Unless a fat squid witch had stolen the girl's voice, he's not the only one being awkward in this story. Story 25. I was bullied in middle school and ignored in high school. I went to a rich school, but we weren't rich, working class at the time. I'm introverted, and I wasn't particularly talented in any sport or creative arts, and I also never really figured out how to do my hair and makeup until I was 17, 18 years old. I wasn't ugly or a hot mess or anything. I was just, pretty invisible to most people. I only ever had 2 guys express interest in me throughout middle and high school, and they were both obese goth guys who got suspended for making serious threats. And then I blossomed. Started really taking care of myself by working out regularly, developed my own style, and I'm obsessed with skincare. I really came into my own on this in my late teens, early 20s. Now, at 31, a lot of people who just glided by on the virtues of their youth are really starting to show their age both physically and personality-wise. I try really hard not to fall into that trap, which I think can really do wonders for a person's attractiveness. I am still an introverted, awkward mess who still doesn't believe that girls look at me like I really love her style or I wish I was fit like her, and whom attractive men are attracted to. I think I missed some vital point of prime social development when I was being bullied or ignored. Story 26. When I was 11 or 12, I moved schools and for a year and a half was picked on a lot. Not too much physically, but lots of psychological stuff. In particular, they would include me or compliment me like, oh man, can we get you in our group? You're great at X. And I would say I'd love to. Then they would say, psych, who would actually want you in a group, loser? The popular girls would flirt, and if I responded with anything nice or polite, they would do the same psych treatment. I was kind of the class heel because I came from a private school. Anyway, that made me distrust and feel awkward around compliments. So while people tell me, wow, you're a very handsome man, I guess deep down I always wait for, lol, just kidding, freaky loser, or assume they're just being nice, not honest. That felt good to talk about. Let it all out, man. Let it all out. Story 27. I would consider myself physically attractive, but I dismiss myself when a girl is flirting with me. I think it all started in 7th grade when I finally had the guts to ask a girl out and she said no. Then I finally had the guts to ask out a girl in 8th grade and she said no. I took that as a sign that girls weren't interested in me. Even at work, girls flirt with me. I think. I honestly don't know if they're being nice or not. And most of the time I ask a girl on a date, they dance around the topic of stop talking to me. I try to look on the bright side though. Out of 6 people I've been on dates with, 5 have resulted in more dates and 2 of them were 2 months of dating. Story 28. Oh man, I'm pretty sure this applies to me. I'm a young, attractive female, but I feel like the attractive part is sheer force of will. I grew up an uber Catholic. We wore dresses from a special Amish catalog because my mom didn't approve of mainstream clothing. Homeschooled and with an extremely dysfunctional family. I've never been good at making friends, and I still look back and cringe at how I acted growing up before I caught on. Despite all the obstacles, I was bound and determined to be sexy. So I practiced dancing in my darkened bedroom to the radio, found my mom every time we went clothes shopping, devoured music videos and fashion magazines, learned how to apply makeup, and quizzed other women on the mysteries of flirting. I succeeded, but as you can imagine, it's been a rough road. Thankfully, I'm living a very pleasant and peaceful life with an amazing boyfriend, and my family really calmed down. Story 29. I'm tall and handsome enough to get girls to approach me, but when it comes to actual relationships, I'm completely lost. I don't know how to interact with a girl when I bring her home, besides just superficial, surface level stuff. Nice weather we're having, huh? It's not that I don't have these deeper level things I wish I could express, but I just don't know how. This is especially true when it comes to emotional things, which I'm abysmal at expressing. I don't really feel feelings toward women. It's not that I don't enjoy their company and wish they could be around, but I don't get this lightning bolt to the heart thing that people say love is. Yeah, that's very rare, but you will get it one day. Story 30. Ugly duckling syndrome, I guess. I used to be super extroverted as a kid, but a huge tomboy. When I started middle school, a few friends of mine took it upon themselves to tell me that I basically looked awful. So I changed. And I had terrible skin through the 7th and 8th grade and was once called one of the ugliest kids in the class. That single incident alone destroyed my self-esteem more than I care to admit. I dislike that it affects me all these years later. These days, I've been told I'm attractive, but it doesn't make interacting with people easier. I just assume I'm making some strange face whenever someone talks to me because I've been told that I have a resting witch face. I always think I'm doing something odd or looking mean or uninterested when I'm talking with someone. It's just hard to have a conversation in general now, and I tend to lapse into the most mundane small talk. Think weather-related and focus too much on making sure I'm smiling, but not too much, or that's creepy. I also have a horrible tendency to talk super fast, even with people I'm comfortable with, and it's 10 times worse when I'm nervous. So people often have to ask me to repeat myself, which makes me more embarrassed and nervous, and I start getting this strange, out-of-body sensation. And though I'm looking at their face, my eyes start glazing over or I look through them, if that makes sense. I find it really hard to maintain eye contact. And the moment a person makes the slightest face that I think is unhappy, I assume they're annoyed with me or think I'm weird and try to find a way to leave the situation. Needless to say, making friends or finding a boyfriend is difficult. I've been told that I'm intimidating before, which doesn't help, probably because of the before-mentioned resting face. What also doesn't help is that even if someone cool-looking asks me out, I panic and tell them I have a boyfriend because I feel put on the spot and I'm bad at this. Being in a one-on-one situation for hours with someone I don't know, especially when it's a date, is truly terrifying for me. That's all I think about when someone asks me out or a potential friend asks me to go get lunch. You may or may not have autism. Look into that. Story 31. Female, late bloomer, anxiety, computer science, anime. That about covers all the bases. I spent all my time in high school playing WoW and reading Naruto fanfiction instead of dating boys and learning to make friends. Now guys try to approach me and hit on me, but I still feel like the weird, awkward fan I was in high school, so I'm just like, why? Can I help you? I still can't get out of the mentality of I'm really weird and awkward, and this person is only talking to me because they want something or they're messing with me. Now that I'm more attractive, it comes off as stuck up. My resting face does not help. Hot nerds are the best. Story 32. I grew up kind of awkward and I was a bit of a strange kid. Really creative, enjoyed alone time, liked to make up elaborate fictional stories to entertain myself, and had an imaginary pony when I was really little. But that didn't bother me at all until middle school. In middle school, I added social clueless to my list of traits. I basically did a lot of horribly cringeworthy things in 6th grade. I was very smart. Test scores were always in the 90th percentile, but I had ADD, which meant my grades were pretty bad. The school placed me in classes with problem students despite how well-behaved I was. You only need to do 1 or 2 embarrassing things to make yourself a target, but I was an overachiever. I made the unwise decision to tell on someone in front of the whole class because my favorite teacher, who was young, pretty, and lighthearted, casually asked if anyone knew who was doing X. I just thought, oh, that's classmate. I can tell her what she wants to know. And I laughed as I tattled on someone in front of all my peers. People were not nice to me to begin with, and I was kind of nerdy, but not in a cool way. I grew up, got braces, dabbled in partying, became pretty, and built a circle of friends, but I'm still always hyper-conscious of what I'm saying and how it sounds because I will always remember the painful years when I was clueless and awkward. Story 33. I don't know, probably having agoraphobia and extreme social anxiety is what does it for me. Apparently in high school, all the girls thought I was that unapproachable guy. They all thought none of them had a chance with me when, in reality, every day was a nightmare for me, anxiety-wise. I'm the guy in my group of friends no one understands because I'm leaps and bounds more attractive, but openly pursue fewer girls and go out less. I don't know when girls are flirting with me because I personally have never thought of myself as attractive, but that's the social anxiety part. Story 34. My life is weird. Basically, my attractiveness operates in 2 cycles. Number 1, the beginning of the semester when I have free time to go to the gym, and number 2, the end of the semester towards exams when I have no time to go to the gym and lose all my muscle. When I don't go to the gym, I receive no interest from women at all. Doesn't help that I'm really introverted and socially awkward, so even if I do get some attention, I'm too socially awkward to put myself out there and be the initiator anyway. But it's a whole different story when I'm working out. I swear I can't walk down a street without someone checking me out. Part of me likes the attention, but like I said, I'm socially awkward, so it gets really weird when someone is blatantly checking you out and you don't know how to respond. Story 35. I don't like people talking to me, flirting with me, and especially not touching me in a flirty sense. I intentionally dress crappy, grow a beard, shave my head, the works. While I lift weights, I don't do so for health or for appearance, it's just fun. But I'm big and strong enough that it seems impossible for women not to point it out. I work as a service bartender while I'm finishing my degree. I don't deal with customers, just make drinks and wash glassware. And without a doubt, the servers that I work with are the bane of my existence. It's always, hey, muscles, this, and you should smile more, that. I asked my sister, who works there with me, started a rumor that I was gay, but nobody buys it, so now I tell people I'm engaged. Congratulations. Story 36. I spent my entire high school career absolutely terrified of people finding out I was bisexual. I liked women and men equally. There were guys I crushed on and girls I fantasized about marrying and having kids with. So I didn't want to be called gay or labeled that way because I felt the label carried weight I wasn't ready to bear. I didn't want to have to explain to every girl I met thereafter that I wasn't playing her just to run off with some gay dude I met at the beach. As a result, I became very estranged and rarely made friends. I kept people at a distance because it was easier for me. People tried to make friends sometimes, not often, so I'd smile and I would pretend to have interests while deliberately avoiding my real hobbies for fear that graphic design and piano were too gay to be interested in. It gave me good practice and assimilation, and for the rest of my life thus far, I've noticed my personality is more of a sponge than anything else. I've become adept at altering my personality and self-image to complement the crowd I'm surrounded by. It's a really lonely thing because even though I'm out now, the transition was hard, reinforcing my social tendencies, which are often seen as borderline antisocial. Not a lot of people are willing to put up with it, or understand why my temperament changes on a dime based on whatever new friend I'm being introduced to. People I've truly opened up to and have stuck around even get tired of my heavy personality sometimes. So I've adapted to keep my issues to myself and to do my best to make those around me feel comfortable, sometimes at my own cost. Story 37. I guess you could say that I was the ugly duckling. I wasn't overly fat or ugly, just plain, but I suffered severely from depression and a narcissistic mother. It was a children are meant to be seen and not heard kind of mentality. I finally started growing into my looks. Small nose, wide eyes, and expressive mouth by the time high school ended. I think of myself as pretty, but nothing gorgeous. I still have problems talking to people. I don't mumble or speak too softly now, but I tend to blush really hard when talking to the opposite gender or just to people I don't interact with daily. I stumble over my words or get them mixed up, and in general, it makes me feel very stupid. I hope it never gives people the wrong idea, like I'm trying to flirt or that I like them romantically, but I'm pretty sure it does. It really sucks too because I just got out of a 4-year relationship and now I have to relearn how to flirt. Story 38. I was a late bloomer, like 110 pounds in 8th grade type small. Plus, I had ADHD, which made me annoying and socially awkward as a child. It also happens that I'm smart and love video games and reading. You can imagine why grade school girls weren't interested in me. At all. To make a long story short, I hit high school, grew about 5 inches, and put on 50 pounds of muscle, about in 1 year, due to puberty suddenly transforming me into a really good athlete. But I was already pretty socially ruined. I had a crippling fear of social rejection. I never kissed a girl until junior year of high school and never went to parties. I lost my V card at 18, only to give people one less thing to tease me about during college, and yes, I know it's kind of a messed up reason and I feel bad about misleading that girl, but it's in the past. And she wasn't pure, so that helps me justify things. Anyway, 5'11", 170 pounds, ex-college wrestler with 6 to 7% body fat and an attractive face. And I still have incredible insecurities about talking to women and have only dated women less attractive than myself in order to avoid rejection and help alleviate my own insecurities. Story 39. I have no idea how to ask people out. I'm great on dates, I think. I can be really personable. I lift weights, but I can't break the ice and talk to a stranger for the first few seconds. I feel like girls don't want to be chatted up all day long by random guys. Like they're grocery shopping or at the gym or eating dinner with a friend. They're not there to get hit on. And I know guys do it because I see it and just can't bring myself to bother these people just for a chance at a date. And even then, like, what the heck do you say? Hey, I was just staring at you from across the aisle and I just had to walk all the way over here and compliment your hair. Story 40. I'm an emotionless robot. Not really, though. I just misplaced my emotional chip. Unsure how to actually connect with people on any sort of intimate level. I disguise it by acting like a class clown or doing extremely outgoing, mostly eccentric things like wild dancing, karaoke, getting way too intoxicated, etc. I do these things so that it looks like I'm out having a good time, being social and all that. But really, I'm just doing things that help maintain a good distance between me and others. And at the end of each night, I run home so I can be by myself. Most people don't realize how uncomfortable and awkward I really am. Story 41 pretty much comes down to my relationship with my parents, and more specifically, my dad. Nothing I ever did was really good enough, and I always got criticized no matter what. Now, when I think of doing something with someone, friends, girls, whatever, I often think something along the lines of, but why would they want to hang out with you? You're not good enough. Ironically, a lot of people find me funny, good looking, cool to hang out with, etc., but unless the other person makes a huge effort at the beginning, or we're forced to hang out like sports or work, I don't generally become friends with people. I worked really hard to come out of my shell and get over all of this, but I still have some ways to go. Well, if you like these stories, here's more. YouTube thinks you're gonna love this. Catch you in that video.